Yeah, hatchlings, this is Christian with Dragon Basket. Today I'm doing a video that's relatively odd compared to what I usually do. Um, I am pulling up a little game project that I've done for my scripting class. Now, pretty simple, just a driving simulator. I'm gonna just run it, play it while I kind of talk, so I'll be doing less of the looking at the camera so that I can manage the game. Um, so I have these vehicles, they can collide with the objects. Nothing really happens if you collide with the objects right now. I'll probably look into adding something like that. I'll probably round the road so that it's a oval, a racetrack sort of shape. But anyway, I have it so you can follow camera 1, camera 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I can even click on the other vehicles to drive them. Now, clicking on the vehicle, I haven't set up where clicking on the vehicle changes the camera. It just changes the active vehicle. And so um, for this model, what I'm going to do is press the associated camera and then click the car, and then anyway, as you can see, this one is much more forward quick. Anyway, just wanted to show off that this is a working model because my uh, there's this thing called GitKraken and GitHub. There are places where you can send copies of incomplete or completed game scripts and other things, and it just hasn't been working. I uninstalled and reinstalled Unity and created a new repository in GitHub and created a new local from that. So hopefully that's going to get my stuff working. Um, hopefully that's going to get my saving working. But I just wanted to show that one, two, oh, it's not playing yet. Okay, let's go ahead and, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can go backwards, forwards, and side to side via rotating, and they interact with objects. I'm thinking about making the objects heavier, or looking up some sort of code that will cause a reset or something if I interact with too many objects. Um, Although I'm not sure. My best guess would be the best guess would be I'd find a way to implement durability, but that seems like it's probably complicated, so I don't know how long it will take me to get around to adding that feature. The other thing is, I feel like I might be able to isolate the. I feel like these vehicles are built by adding different parts together. So there's a chance, and I haven't looked into it, but there's a chance that I might be able to get the turret on top of this tank to rotate independently, and I'd probably use the ASDW keys to do that. But yeah, unfortunately, once these cars have fallen off the road, I don't have a way to get them back up. So I'll just stop that. Now, I'm kind of just rambling, so I'm going to open up the scripts. So I have a pretty simple thing here. I have follow camera 1 through 5. They are basically all the same. The only thing different is this, and I think this is called a class. And so the name of the script and the class have to be the same. Those have to be the same. Follow player 1, follow player 1, or else Unity is not going to be able to not going to be able to locate this script in order to add it to an object, which means the script won't be able to run. Anyway, so public game object player. That this public means that I can interact with it in Unity here itself. Um, if I could set this to private, and then I wouldn't be able to interact with the script here. I'd have to update it only in the script editor. Game object, this is kind of the class again. It's specifying what sort of object or it's kind of narrowing down what the object is going to be capable of being. And this player kind of narrows that down even further. Vector 3 offset. So vector 3 is talking about the x, y, and z positioning of the object, and the offset here is actually this function. So this new vector here, this is referring to the camera's position to the object it's following. And so when I can put this offset value down here, so that the transform position is equal to the player's transform position. So transform position, the transforming of its position, movement basically, in the vector 3 or in the x, y, and z coordinates. And then the offset lets the camera just stay away from it. If I didn't have the offset, the camera would try to be inside of the object it's following. With the offset, I can put it above and behind like you see. So that takes care of those 5 scripts. Player control here, this is the movement thing. So I have speed set to 20. However, I changed that for all of the cars. I think one of them is still 20, but one of them's 35, one is 8 and 12 and stuff like that. So again, here, public, this just means that I can edit it in the Unity editor. This float here restricts the type of numbers I can use to non-decimal numbers, basically. Speed is setting what value this is. So this is how fast the cars go. And I updated the numbers over here. If I come into the Unity editor, I find this car. See, here's the player controller, the movement one. I have speed set to 8. So I manually updated the speed in here. Turn speed helps with the left and right, and combined with this rotate function allows, instead of the car for the horizontal input, just moving the object side to side, it allows it to turn across the axis instead of just float to the side. Horizontal input allows me to press the left or right arrow keys to push the object in that direction. Again, with this rotate function, it rotates it along an axis instead of just shoving it to the side. And this forward input, it lets me use the forward and back arrow keys to move the car forward and back. And then these are just help recognize when I'm pressing. This is basically helping me recognize when I press left and right, and this other one back and forward. How much time do I have left? It's already 8 minutes. Okay, I meant to be faster, but oopsie. Next, cam swap. I found this. I forget what the video was, and I got like 2 hours of sleep today, so I just want to get through this. Public game object 1, or camera 1. So these are just the 5 different cameras I set up, one for each car. Void update. This means it's checking every frame to see if the condition is met. So here, if the condition that I input the number 1 key, so if I press 1, it's going to set the camera 1 to active, set camera 2, 3, 4, and 5 to false, set active to false. So that's going to deactivate the other cameras. And then I just repeated that function, except I have it set to press 2 to have camera 1, 3, 4, 5 set to off, and camera 2 set to on, 3 for camera 3, and the rest off, 4 for camera 4 on and the rest off, and 5 for camera 5 and the rest off. So if parenthesis input dot gets button down, parenthesis quote 1 key end quote end parenthesis bracket cam1 dot set active parenthesis true end parenthesis semicolon, etc. So there's follow player cam swap, and then these last two scripts I found to help change the player. So over here we have public mind script mind. So public here lets me view it in other places. Mind script is actually referring to this script. As you can see, it's called mind script. And then mind, I have an empty object called mind that's just in there to help run this function. So void on mouse down, that just means when I'm pressing the mouse button, it can recognize that. So, and then it has this little bit of information to help interact with the mind script and the mind object. So mind.changePlayer, parenthesis this dot game object, and parenthesis thing. So when I click an object, it's recognizing that I'm clicking this object, and I'm simplifying and kind of guessing a little bit to what it's doing. But then it's also getting the component player control, which is my moving function, my moving script. So it gets that component and enables it on the object that I press. And then this mind script is kind of doing setting the other player objects to off. So here we have public game object players. The players are the 5 vehicles. It's recognizing what the current player is, and this void start at the beginning of the when I start the game, this checks. And so what this is checking for is how many players there are, and with this current player equals players 0 is actually referring to the first player. So this is just finding the first player to have them start as active as the current player. And then current player dot get component player enabled false. Public void change player. I don't know how to break this one down exactly, but it's pretty much the same, with just helping to change swap between players. Anyway, I wish that I understood how this functioned better, so that I could relay the information more clearly and more confidently, but that's kind of my understanding. And for this channel, with getting into animation and game development, I think it's okay to bring this little bit of uncertainty, because throughout the course I'm going to start gaining that certainty and bringing those answers here. And I thought it was just fun to be able to come and show you my first actual game project. The assets were from a course Unity provides to help new people learn how to use Unity. So thank you to my instructor and school to get me started on learning scripting, and thank you to Unity for providing these tutorials and assets for me to borrow to create this driving simulator. I'm excited for the other projects that these bits of information are enabling me to do. Now, one side note, this project is, I actually went a little bit above and beyond, I would say, because I think the requirements were just one of the vehicles working, and I made it so that you can switch between the vehicles, have one active at the same time, switch between the cameras. So I think I did a little bit extra, and I'm proud of doing that. And I'm really happy with the research that it took, because it helps show me that I can find scripts that I need. So yeah, I'll showcase my next game, whatever that is. It's probably going to be a plane simulator, the next project in the class. So yeah, see you then. And hopefully I'll have actual hand-drawn animations soon, but probably not. But I'll try. Anyway, y'all have a great day, hatchlings. See ya.